You're listening to When Leaders Evolve. I am your host, Dani Kvilic, psychologist and spiritual entrepreneur. Here, leadership begins within. Because when leaders evolve, the world changes. You'll hear conversations with conscious impact leaders, and sometimes it's just me sharing what I'm learning along the way. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my very first interview on When Leaders Evolve. And I can't really emphasize enough how excited and grateful I am because today I have a guest with me who's not only have become my best friend in South Africa. I think I can say that, right? Yes, I can say that. She's nodding. You can't see that, but we are also seeing each other. And it's been a journey because when I met Dawn the first time, I was really so impressed by how she's running her business. And I'm very, very grateful that she said yes to this interview to come as one of the really conscious impact leaders that I have met that impressed me most, not only from the product that she's creating, but also the way how she's running her business. And when I shared with her, obviously, because we are good friends now that I'm going to do this new interview, I invited her right away to become one of the first partners because I really also said it's important to me to show who are the people in my life and in my journey who has inspired me and who has been also on my journey and with me. And in Dawn, somehow both of these things are coming together because not only am I impressed by the way she has created her businesses, I can say right now, but also how she has helped me grow and inspire me in building my businesses and find my way to South Africa and also make South Africa my home now. So Dawn, welcome. And thank you so, so much for taking the time and being courageous enough to be my very first interview partner on this. I'm really grateful that you're here. You've been bridging entrepreneurship and healing for years. We're going to speak a lot about GoGreen, obviously, today, but from founding GoGreen to also mentoring others building their conscious businesses, what would you say first sparked your vision of creating something that heals both people and the planet?
So, Danny, in full honesty, the intention for Go Green was to heal the planet. I'd read an article 14 years ago about the state of our rivers and dams in South Africa, and I got mad, like raging mad. And something inside of me spurred me, and it was like either I can remain angry or I can do something about it. And so Go Green started, a nature lover through and through. And this thought that nature was going to deteriorate in my lifetime, there was just a big resounding no. As you mentioned, I'd come from the healing background. So the fact that I was now going to be entering the world of business and product and, working with the environment it came out of the blue. And then along the way of just how the business has grown, it is people based. Whereas the initial was around the planet, the response that we've received mainly from the people who are cleaning, our housekeepers, the response that I got from them. And then the moms messaged me. I mean, up until recently, I got a message from a lady I don't even know. She buys the product through one of my other moms because it's a network marketing model is how Go Green is run. So I find mums who want to earn an extra income. They sell our products into their networks. They get to earn an extra income, all the while as we start cleaning up the planet.
Beautiful.
So anyway, through one of the moms who's selling my products, this client got hold of me and she says, my daughter is 7 years old. She's had bad rashes in her very sensitive areas. She had literally taken her daughter to every doctor, dermatologist in the whole of Cape Town and surrounds, and nobody was able to help her daughter. She said, by absolute chance, She changed to our cleaning products and everything cleaned up within a week. Everything cleaned up. And this is one of the messages we receive like weekly with messages like this. So the people aspect of it has been a byproduct, but a very important element. And now they very much go hand in hand. To the point where we've now, so our philosophy is people, planet, and we've added purpose. Because when we are purpose driven, we know what we are willing and not willing to do. And purpose gives me anyway a very clear path to walk. So my purpose is towards the planet. My purpose is towards the people. And I'm just very grateful that more people are seeing the value of what we're doing and are now part of this journey as well.
So beautiful. Yeah. We might go into the product in general a little bit later again. First, I'm really curious to hear from you because you now shared a little bit from you've been a healer and then you started to create your own product and went into the more business world, I would say. What was the biggest lesson from building Go Green if you look back and as well as, from the perspective of the founder, also as the perspective of the human?
So the biggest lesson I have learned and I'm still learning is persistence, and that is like I recently got the image of a tree. And when a tree is laying down a very big root, that big root has to be persistent in breaking through the different layers within the ground to keep this tree stable and solid. And this honestly has been my driving factor, is the persistence. Also, I know what is at stake. Don't get me wrong, Danny, there have been plenty times where I've been like, what was I thinking? And almost like wanting to choose an easier life and an easier path because entrepreneurship's hard. Being a woman, going into this stage of my life, it's hard. It's been very, very challenging. But I knew what was at stake. As you know, I love swimming in the ocean. I love it. It's my happy, happy place. And the thought of our oceans being so polluted that I wouldn't be able to swim in the oceans or future generations breaks my heart.
Yeah.
Not being able to drink clean water, only water that's had to be chemically treated, vegetables which comes from the ground. And if the soil is so polluted, what alternative do we have? And Danny, honestly, there is no alternative. There is no alternative. So that's been my very steady rock through all of this, is I realized that there is no other alternative.
Yeah, beautiful. You already mentioned it a little bit in your first elaboration. When did you realize, as being or having been a healer, and then you started going into that direction of a business? When did you realize that also a business could be a spiritual path?
Danny, I realized as Go Green started growing, I realized that another energy had taken over. And the energy that had taken over was very familiar to me, and that's the energy of spirit. Danny, I'm the custodian. I don't own any of this. I know that this whole business is coming through me. And every time, not any time, every time I have gotten stuck in an aspect of my business, I have gotten back down and hand on my heart. And it's my mantra for Go Green. I say to spirit, show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. And something gets sparked. Also, a good number of years ago, I was meditating with Marianne Williamson. I was in New York and I attended one of her seminars. And she was saying that if you want your entire life to change, you ask yourself 2 questions. Dear Spirit, how best can I serve you? Okay, that's the one question. I put my hand on the ground and go, Mother Earth, how best can I serve you? And every time I ask one of those 2 questions, another door opens for me. So I know that this business is spirit led. And even speaking about this right now, I can feel a vibration in my body. So, yeah.
How would you say has that shifted your understanding of leadership?
Well, I mean, my ultimate leader is Mother Nature and spirit. How has this shaped me as a leader? Um, Danny, I feel that a true leader is somebody who leads from behind. And in my years of being in leadership roles in other organizations, I was known as being a leader in my various positions. And my approach was always initially to observe and then to see what is needed here.
Mm.
Most of the time, it was a unity, a coming together. And as long as people are walking or doing things of their own accord, there is disharmony. As soon as you start bringing people together for a common purpose, there's a frequency which comes in that binds people, that holds people like a big hug. And this has been my approach in GoGreen. Also, our clients have grown. We've grown enormously, exponentially in the last 5 years. We've got more moms on board. We've got more clients on board. Not all the clients I've got one-on-one time with, but my approach is still the same. Anytime I'm chatting with a client, or with one of my moms who's distributing, I make sure that I'm speaking to the person. Yes, there is the business that comes in it, but the person is the framework. The business is the language.
Was there ever a moment when you had to really pause and recalibrate according to what you just shared, when your business didn't feel aligned anymore?
I mean, I wanted to give up every single day, because it's been hard work. I don't come from cleaning background. I don't come from a product background. I spent many years in hospitality, which is still service orientated. Then in the spiritual realms, which was still service orientated. And now I'm in a product based business, and it just boggled my mind. Also in the previous two businesses, I had bosses and they did all the business stuff and I just needed to show up. So yes, I wanted to give up every single day. Absolutely every single day. Were there times when I took a pause? Yes. Danny, taking pause for me is part of my lifestyle, and my pause is back in nature. And in that, I don't go back into nature to be reminded why. When I'm in nature, I'm reminded why I do what I do. And then this year, actually, I took a 3-month sabbatical. I still did operationally what needed to be done, but I realized I was losing my zest for the business because it's been nonstop for the past 5 years. And the 5 years before that was development. And the 2 years before that was conceptualization. So, you do a lot of the same stuff. So this year I took a 3-month sabbatical and I did very different stuff. Dabbled back in the healing realms. I did my volunteer work with the kids in the communities, planted trees, and it was exactly what I needed in taking a step back. So now that I've come back into the business again, I've got fresh eyes. I can see what part of the business is wanting to become more alive. And operationally, we're sound. Foundationally, we are sound. And this I got to see because I was able to step back from the business, and the business was still able to run.
Yeah.
What I noticed, it wasn't able to grow, but it was able to run. So in that pause, I then realized what my next step is, and this is growing it, which is very exciting.
Beautiful. Yeah, you were already starting to talk now about, what we might call regenerative leadership in action. So, how would you define regenerative leadership? Or you can also speak to regenerative business if that's more what you feel called to.
So I must admit, it's like since you asked me to be on this interview and you said that I'm a impact driven leader, it was really good for me to hear that because I'd never seen myself in that role. It had always been something which I was like, oh, these people, impact-driven leaders, are doing such amazing work. And when you said, but Dawn, you are one, I was like, what? And was it was actually rather lekker. Like I had to take a step back and own it, like
Mm.
really own that. So the fact that you're now calling me the next phase, which is the regenerative, I just see this tree which has sprouted new branches and new roots. And as we know, the more roots in the ground, the more stable the tree. So for me, regenerative is stabilizing. It's stabilizing. We've built something to this point, and now the regenerative means that it's now growing of its own accord. Um,
Beautiful. And maybe for those who don't know out there and are listening, the products that Dawn is creating and forming with her team are, as you said in a side sentence before, they're literally healing the earth because they're literally cleaning the water that you're using to clean your stuff and helping it to be less harming to the planet. So if you're interested, go to GoGreen. We will also put in the information in the caption, but really make yourself become more knowledgeable about, what cleaning products can do to not only the planet, but also your own health. And this is exactly where I see Dawn's business also as such an holistic, regenerative or conscious business, because like she said before, she's not only integrating other moms to help them make money as a side hustle additionally by selling Go Green, but also because it's actually really creating impact in the planet, inspiring so many people to become more sustainable or more regenerative in their lifestyle. So yeah, that's some note on the side. So when we were speaking about spirituality a little bit already, and I mean, with your background as a healer, obviously that's a different context that you're coming in. But how does spirituality actually affect your leadership when you are in daily business? Like, how do you weave in spirituality into your daily decisions?
because I don't feel that spirituality is separate from me. I feel that spirituality is one of my frequencies. So it's part of me. I spent 20 plus years working with my spiritual self and really getting to know this part of me. And I don't see my spiritual self as being separate from myself. She is part of me. And ultimately, what spirituality is for me is love. It's love. So, how on the back of our labels, there's a big heart and it says with love, and our products are created with love. And even though we don't always say it, people feel it. The communication with clients is loving. It is kind. It's met in that frequency. And Danny, I know that it works because when I'm not delivering products myself so much anymore, because as the business grows, so our responsibility grows. But on the blessed and rare occasion that I'm meeting face to face with my clients, I'm greeted with hugs and eye contact and hand holding and how are you? But like the real how are you, which is just testament that something more is here. And across the cultural barriers, across social barriers, across as male to female, kids to adults. It's a universal frequency. It's a universal language which we understand. I mean, look at us. We come from different hemispheres and different backgrounds, but this love frequency that we recognize in each other, we're close because of it. Like you're in my heart because of it.
Yeah, true, true. Beautiful. You've already came up with a few ideas. I just want to, for our audience, give a little bit more practical examples also. When you talk about your business, it's so beautiful to listen, and I have experienced it, so I can totally understand. But let's emphasize a little bit more, like, how does it look like, to design a company that is more nourishing than depleting the planet or the people? Like, how do you go about, like, what is it, how you create or design the company?
That's a very good question. So Okay, so the cleaning product, we started off with one product. And then very soon we realized that in order for this product to flourish, and it is an enzyme-based product that really it's an enzyme-based product. But we noticed that as soon as people were using a chemical on top of the enzyme, it would kill off the enzymes. And that really just got me really, really thinking. I was like, so chemicals, whether we're putting them on our skin or whether we're putting them down the drains, they're killing off natural bacteria. And Danny, we're basically big bags of bacteria. So, and we want the bacteria to be thriving. So the rest of the range started being developed to support the bacteria and the enzymes in this product. And then, Danny, some of the products got developed from chatting with my clients, with the housekeepers. They're going, oh, we need this, we need this. This is truly listening. And when I'm very honest with myself as to how did I build this business, it was through listening to what our clients needed, listening to what the deep growlings and grumblings are that's coming from Mother Earth. And Danny, when we put poison on her earth, we're disrespecting her. That's blanket line, from a being that we get so much from, our water, our shelter, our, Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the planet 101. To just bring respect, a layer of respect into that and going, I see you. And just keep being met in that element. I see you. And this is how we build the business. So even like our packaging is plastic, which drove me nuts for years. I was like, our cleaning products completely biodegrade like almost instantly. And here we've got plastic. But I went down the line for ages to see what we could be using instead of. And Danny, I kept coming back to plastic because the plastic has got a solid lifespan. And then to appease part of me, we have a reuse policy. Our clients return their plastic bottles and they're thoroughly hygiened and disinfected and all the rest, and we get to reuse. So our products we sell in concentrate. So you use very little of the product at a time. And in doing that, last year alone, we saved over 23,000 bottles from having to be produced because our product is concentrate. So and that was last year. I mean, the year before was like 18,000, and the year before, I can't remember how many the year before. So it all starts adding up, and that's impact. That's impact. When you start adding it up, because the small step I make today isn't remarkable until I look back, and I actually did this recently. I looked back and I was like, amazing that. Let's take stock of what's happened this year and started adding up all the small steps. I realized that I've actually walked a fair distance. And that's impact when we can take stock. Also, it gets me to pause and realize that every drop counts.
Beautiful. Okay, let's look into what you feel you can share others who might be starting to follow that path of being a conscious impact or regenerative leader. What is a message you wish that every entrepreneur would hear before they start a company?
That's a very good question. You have to be part intelligent and half stupid.
That's a great answer.
Right? To start your own business. I mean, I had grand ideas. I'd start my business in 2-3 years. I'd be sitting on the beach drinking pina coladas. All right. It's been 13 years. It's still not there. First of all, your 100% essential ingredient is passion. You have to have passion. If you're not, passion for me is alignment. It's your fountain. For me, passion is my fountain of energy. It's something that happens naturally. And it's an energy source that it comes naturally. It's not an energy source that I have to constantly feed. So definitely passion about what you're doing, why you're doing it, who you're offering it to. And the more clear you are about what your product is, who you're going towards, and finding people who are also passionate about that, is a big difference, because it makes it easy. It makes it easy. The moms whose kids have got skin conditions, it's an easy conversation to have about our cleaning products. The people that are nature lovers and that spend a lot of time camping and are out and about, it's easy to have these conversations. Sitting in a boardroom, which I have done, in big factories which manufacture processed food, and having these conversations, Danny, they're not interested. And what happens at the end of that meeting? I'm drained, because there isn't alignment. So it's the same as fighting the old or building the new. So I started off my business fighting the old, and I realized that it wasn't sustainable for me. And now building the new is what excites me.
Beautiful. How do you see the relationship between healing ourselves as leaders and healing the planet?
They have to go hand in hand. Because then if we're not looking after ourselves, then there is burnout and there's depletion. And I speak from experience. And when I'm in burnout and depletion, I'm of use to nobody. And then the cleaning, looking after the planet feels like a heavy burden. Whereas in taking care of me and healing myself, I get more and more in alignment with who I am. And so my message becomes clearer.
Yeah, and you beautifully shared also that you just took a sabbatical you didn't take a sabbatical from all of it. You had still some operations running, but you really took a break to find the gist of it back, right? You just shared that. So assume also your balance in, finding that joy again and that capacity to even be able to look at what is going well and where do I have to look at specific things and how can I change stuff, needs to have space, right? So I really love that you brought that in as an example in the beginning. So healing can have so many different forms today. What would you say was healing that really helped you? You said before you're going to nature and you immerse in nature and then you feel you're part of it. But what would be something specifically as a business runner or as a um, innovator, as a leader? What is something that really helped you heal, or where you say, this is something that heals me again and again so that I can show up as the leader I want to be?
Time in nature, without a doubt. Time in nature. There's time in nature is my ultimate medicine for many, many reasons. We live in a very fast-paced electronic world. I have my phone in my hand more than I have a cup of tea in my hand. What happens when I'm in nature? I come back to my natural frequency. I come back to nature's frequency, and it reminds me that I am part of nature. Danny, this year, especially this year, but the last 2 years, I've been on a shamanic journey where the practice is connecting with the elements and really, really getting to know the elements intimately. And this, yes, it's is more fuel for my business, because now I know what I am protecting. And I don't even want to say protecting. It's what I care about. It's nature gives me so much. I mean, a swim in the sea will get me out of my head immediately. Aches and pains gone. I feel aliveness in me that no cup of coffee will ever be able to do. I can be having the worst day and I'll go for a walk in the forest and I leave the forest with a spring in my step again, and so this is my healing. What I also find with nature, I'm looking outside the window as I speak to you so that I am speaking from, and the mountains, oh my gosh, those steady. I mean, and when things are GoGreen, I'm like, what's going on? And then I look at the mountain and I'm just reminded to remain steady. Stay on course, stay on course. The biggest thing that has helped me in my healing journey is healing my mind and really just weeding out the parts of my mind which is taking me away from my purpose. Time in nature is definitely heartwarming for me. I'm so connected with my heart again. And then it's the marriage, it's the partnership between the mind and the heart. So the getting back into the heart, and the heart being the master, telling the mind what we need to do, what we need to discover. The practice, and I say practice because I haven't perfected it, the practice is keep coming back to the heart, listening to the heart, and the mind then responding with what is needed. And that's been my main healing journey for the past 20 plus years, is just keep delayering the heart and decluttering the mind.
When you hear when leaders evolve, the world changes, what truth arises for you hearing that sentence?
Can you say that again so I can hear you with my heart and not with my head?
Dawn, when you hear when leaders evolve, the world changes, what truth arises for you?
So the image I get is where the river widens into the sea, into the ocean. And this, as the river evolves, it becomes wider. And then there's a meeting in that point with something which is greater than what it is. And I feel that that's what feels alive inside of me. I get my truth from nature because nature it's reality. It's not an imagination. So that sort of, as I evolve, so my capacity to hold and influence becomes greater. This fills me with joy because I know that as my leadership evolves, the bigger impact I'm going to say I am making, but the bigger impact we are making. Yeah. So as I evolve, so my capacity evolves. As my capacity evolves, I'm saying this again so that it can sink in. As my capacity evolves, my impact evolves. And impact is exactly what our business is about.
So beautiful. Our time is already coming to an end. I'm so grateful that we had this beautiful conversation. And I can imagine that so many people out there are like, wow, this is amazing. This is stunning. 13 years of creating impact and healing the planet and still being joyful and having capacity to, stay in balance and heal yourself. You really have made it to a point where people can look up to and maybe long for the same. So I know that Dawn also does consulting. Everyone who's out there and who's interested, she's coaching other business owners starting their own conscious and impact-driven businesses. So when you're interested, just reach out. Yeah, thank you, Dawn, so much for showing that conscious business isn't just possible, it's necessary. It's necessary in our world and that we live in. And I wish there would be more leaders out there who were so much in integrity with their own purpose and their own passion as you are in your business. It's really inspiring to see. And you also have just today shared with us that it even starts with your own vibration and how important it is to also always find back that frequency by going into nature, by going into the ocean, by listening to other people, by reconnecting with your own purpose. And it's really beautiful to see how you're flourishing. So thank you so much for being here today.
And Danny, just also to say is that anytime we put chemicals in our body, it distorts our frequency. So it goes back to also being very aware of what I put in my body and what I put on my skin. So that's also a very big contributing factor. Thank you for today's chat. It's actually allowed me to see more of myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dawn. And thank you everyone for listening. We're curious to hear what you're saying, what it resonates and how it inspires you, what ignites in you. So share with us your comments and feedback. We're looking forward to it. And yes, come and listen to us again next week. We will have another episode and another interview. So looking forward to have you here with us again. Thank you, Dawn. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you for being here on When Leaders Evolve. If this episode spoke to you, share it with another leader who cares. And if you want more conversations and reflections like this, make sure you're subscribed. Remember, when leaders evolve, the world changes. Now let's keep going. We've got a world to evolve.